Started with my fraternity in the mid 90s, and transitioned as the CEO of the Triangle Foundation in 2000. So been involved in the Greek world and been to many FEAs, and I actually in my early career was responsible for magazine and things like that at Phi Kappa Theta, and actually back when it was called CFEA was part of this group. Now I serve as a board member on hazingprevention.org, something that means a lot to me, and in an effort to deal with hazing. Just my personal story, it's interesting. I was a founding father of my fraternity chapter at Ohio University, and as a founding father, you don't get hazed. And so in my Greek experience, I never experienced hazing. But I did experience hazing in all places, the band and in athletics, in high school and college athletics. So it's prevalent across the country, and it's prevalent in a lot of organizations, just not the Greek world. But I am proud that we do address this head on while working with other groups in the different sectors. They are not as aggressive in dealing with hazing. Hazingprevention.org was founded on scientific principles, how to prevent hazing. It's not, we know we're realists. We know it's not going to be eliminated. It's not going to, die off. But what can we do to prevent? It's all based on what's called the prevention model, and in how we do programs and we offer things and advocacy and things like that, and which comes in a lot of different areas. As it relates to hazing prevention. One of those things is the National Hazing Prevention Week, which tries to bring awareness, tries to bring advocacy, tries to bring a call to action about hazing. And we try to do it early in the spring, or I'm sorry, in the fall, because of the beginning of the semester. And this is when most of our membership intake is happening. So they're beginning that process of members joining. Many of our chapters across the country are knee deep in recruitment and rush and whatever you want to call it. And I will be adding to our roles lots of new members over the next couple of weeks. So we really wanted to make sure that Hazing Prevention Week happens early in that process. So as these new members come into our organizations, they realize that hazing is not an option. It's not something that they should accept. And we also want to create awareness within our organizations, whether it's our alumni, whether it's our undergraduates, to what activities, what can they do to prevent it, and bring some awareness of hazing and its negativity. So that's kind of how Hazing Prevention Week was developed, and it continues to be one of our most successful programs. And so we're here today because you guys are all the communications folks. You're the ones that are doing all the social media posts. You're that external communications arm of your organization, and we want to make sure that you're equipped with the information and resources that you have to help us, prevent hazing and help get the word out and help make Hazing Prevention Week successful. So that's what we wanted to cover here today. A little bit more about hazing HPO. It was started as a national nonprofit, and which I kind of cover, and we want to educate about the dangers of hazing. We have a lot of parents that have lost their children to hazing that are part of our group. We work with the coalition, Anti-Hazing Coalition, that works on laws and things like that across the country, and is currently actively working with Congress to change some hazing laws there as well. So one of the main initiatives we have is the Hazing Prevention Institute, which I would encourage you or somebody from your staff to consider joining. It happens every summer. It's a great educational opportunity especially for your risk management staff or any chapter outreach staff to attend. You can even we have discounts for groups that go. So information's on here on the one that happened in June, but we'll have another one, and hopefully in person next year. We're working on those, and so hopefully by early December, generally at AFLV, we try to post and begin the process of announcing the next Hazing Prevention Institute. So something to think about for those that are interested in that space. We also offer a LiveTechPresent Zone. So for those of you that handle your LMS systems or work with your director of chapter services, chapter of education, whatever you want to call it, on communication, HPO also is a leading convener and educator as far as developing curriculum for organizations to implement both as staff training as well as membership training. We have a relationship with a LiveTech, and they do kind of a Greek 101 on hazing that is an LMS type system that is proven on scientific research, and you know, it's not an end all be all, but it's one of those arrows in our quiver to address hazing. So if you're looking for educational resources as it relates to delivering content to your members, as well as training new staff or existing staff on hazing prevention, or alumni, advisors, alumni coaches, whatever you want to call them, we also offer these resources out there, and Christine or Sal can always give you more information on how to work with those areas. Then finally, we do the National Hazing Prevention Week. The date is September 20th through the 24th. We'll go into a little bit more detail on the week here. We have spotlight on successes on each of those calendar of events. And what we're asking is that just because we have fraternity and sorority life on the 21st, we're hoping that fraternities and sorority headquarters embrace this for the full week, and also prime the pump leading up to it over the course of September, start talking about it, encouraging their chapters to a level of awareness. And that's where Sal comes in. Sal is a very trained expert in this area in communications. He's an old, media guy. And so he's got expertise and he can help you. So we understand how everybody in this world is overworked and underpaid, and you have 15 bosses that need something out tomorrow, and you're trying to juggle a social media calendar and appease everybody and not cause any social media craziness and things like that. Well, if you need the logo, you need content, you need any of that copy, Sal's the guy. So that's a resource that we have through our relationship as a national organization. Is we're lucky to have the expertise of somebody that can put that together for you guys, and on a case-by-case basis. So Sal, do you want to share some of the things that you can do and how you can help?
Sure. We have obviously promotional materials for National Hazing Prevention Week that I would love to share with you. We have social media tiles, they're plug and play. I know you have your own calendars and things that you must address, and that you probably have 30 things on your to-do list, and you'll be lucky to get through the week having completed 10. I've been there. There are many demands on your time. So my goal is, where it's possible, I want to make your lives easier and to give you some content that you don't have to create on your own. Obviously, it relates to hazing and hazing prevention. I can't help you with everything, but I'm happy to help you with this part and make your lives a little easier, and have you be able to go to the people you report to and say, okay, we have covered hazing in a couple of different ways, including this one, and have it not be a heavy lift to you. Obviously, we will partner with you to get the word out to your audiences about Hazing Prevention Week and our other materials. Should you have the opportunity or the assignment to dive deeper into hazing, we can connect you with resources as well. And the easiest way to get through to me would be, and you'll see the email coming up, but info@hazingprevention.org will get to me, and I'll respond to you quickly and respect your deadlines. With that, Scott, I'll let you jump back in.
Thanks, Sal. So Sal's the resource on this. Our goal is that all of our partners and many of your organizations are sponsors and partners of HPO. I know, through my long tenure, I know many of your executive directors and chief executives across the country. at your organizations and supporting hazing prevention. Obviously, we don't go by a year without a hazing death, and a lot of times it's at our organizations, and a lot of times you guys are the ones that have to do the crisis communications and have to deal with those issues. So this is an opportunity to talk about hazing prevention in a proactive way. And so we're really hoping that you can not only just drive content, but also encourage your chapters and your members to actively participate in hazing prevention and provide resources directly to the chapters. Just as we provide to you being the chief communication officers, we're hoping that you can then push down to the chapters implementation tools, social media tiles, things like that, that help bring the information to their campus, to their chapter, to their community. One of the things that we do is that we, this pledge is offered year round, but we really make it a focus of Hazing Prevention Week is we ask individuals, and whether it's in the Greek and the bands and student organizations and intramurals, whatever it is, to engage in this and to actively have this call to action to pledge. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward on here. What we ask is that they come to our website, and it's simple, hazingprevention.org. We made it very easy to find our website, and take the pledge. We don't require a lot. They don't have to give us their email or phone number or anything like that. But it's a call to action, and we're asking so far over this past, I think 12 months now, we've had close to 5,000 people that have signed and agreed to the pledge. Obviously, we would love to see that easily double, if not more, over the National Hazing Prevention Week. So this is an example of something you can drive to your members, to your alumni, to your chapters, and ask them to participate, ask your membership to participate. It's just one of those things, and it's that increase of awareness. It's a call to action. It's an agreement. It's a belief system. So
it's also a great way for you to very easily show that you're being proactive on the issue, because we can provide you with these tiles. We can, if you have a specialized need, we can talk about co-branding the tile with you, and it becomes an easier way for you to show that you're being proactive on the issue.
One of the things I forgot to say at the beginning of this isn't, while we're trying to cover these slides, we also wanted to make sure it was a dialogue and discourse. So please feel free to unmute yourself if you have questions for Sal or myself, and it can be about anything related to hazingprevention.org or the Hazing Prevention Week or whatever. Please feel free to chime in if you need to. So we talked about the pledge. Here's the information. And logo and info at hazingprevention.org gets to Sal as well as the rest of the team. So they're very responsive in getting you what you need and anything like that. We also have lots of social media. So I think one of the easiest things that you guys can do it, whether it's in your personal social media or in your corporate social media accounts, is follow us, repost, share, tweet, all that, retweet, all that type of stuff, as much as possible. So Sal, do we have any hashtags or anything that we're using? I don't see that.
We'll be rolling those out as part of our promotion. I'll make sure to share them. One of the things is, this is how you can get to us. And what I'd like to be able to do, and Cody, hopefully you are comfortable facilitating this, is to send you all some resources and some samples of resources, those of you here today, by email, that will also connect us. And then you have a way to reach out to me when you need me, but I can also deliver some of this content to you that you can just grab and go.
Yeah, that would be great. We also have a Facebook group page that's pretty active, and I think we could share it on there as well, and would be valuable for those who may not be able to attend today or join us. So that'd be good.
Absolutely. Our goal is to work with you in any way we can. to help get our message out, and at the same time, make it easy for you and give you some content that you can put in the pipeline while you're working on the 18 other projects you have going.
And then there was something in here about Media Pass. Do you want to talk about that, Sal?
Sure. So, for those of you that have taken the time out to learn about us today, and of course, we'll extend it to your larger audience as well, Cody, we would, be happy to have you attend some of the events that we're doing. It's all virtual this year during National Hazing Prevention Week, but we're bringing speakers in, as Scott said, to share their success stories across, the wide variety of campus life. It's not just, fraternities and sorority life, but also, band athletics. We will have someone in from the Gordy Center to talk about Gordy Day and the dangers of alcohol abuse during hazing events and some of the things that, how to prevent that. And we're also trying something new this year because we know that the virtual world in all its varieties can also be a place for hazing. And, and we think of it more as bullying and things like that, but it can also be a place for hazing. So we're taking a look at the virtual world as well, and we'll have a speaker on that. You're invited at no cost to you or your organization to attend these. Hopefully it'll be a springboard for some story ideas or some content ideas as you go forward, in addition to the event. But we're happy to have you attend, and you just have to email me and we'll set you up.
Mm-hmm. And all those events are open to the public, right, Sal?
Actually, they are by registration only. We want folks who are involved in campus life to register and attend. So it is a closed loop. So we are, providing you with a free pass that we are charging others for.
Okay. And that could be other people within your organization as well. So it doesn't have to be just the communication folks. I would encourage you to get the chapter services folks and chapter leadership, the alumni engagement people that are working with your advisors and trainers out there to get them engaged in it as well.
Right. And for our student members, this is important. For our student members, it is free.
So that kind of concludes our quick down and dirty discussion on Hazing Prevention Week and the activities. So is there any questions for us or for Sal about hazingprevention.org or the Hazing Prevention Week? Anything that, and then also, what can we do to help get the word out? What do you need from us to make this more doable?
So I have two things that I wanted to talk about mainly. One, I'd probably be remiss if I didn't mention and plug the Anti-Hazing Coalition Love Mom and Dad film that will be the presentation and discussion that'll take place for our groups on Sunday, October 3rd at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then the other piece with this is I know many of you probably work ahead on your social calendars. I hope it is. Things change regularly, but we try to work 2 or 3 weeks ahead on our social calendars. And so we're working on National Hazing Prevention Week as we speak. And so I think any form of graphics or posts, the media kit with the logo and word marks, of course, would be great to have and share. And they're just examples. I think we can do a lot together as a group to really interact and share best practices or things that work well for organizations that would probably do well across the board, both fraternities and sororities. But I know for us, as we look at the calendar for that week and the events that you all are hosting and how those are applicable to our groups or our members, and then just, taking the pledge, promoting the Love Mom and Dad, the Gordy Day events, just things that are specific, that would resonate with our membership. And so we're working through that. And so I think sharing those graphics and things would be very beneficial for us.
I will have them to you before your holiday weekend begins. How's that? And hopefully it starts early, which means I'll get them to you today. And then as far as I'm concerned, you can take the rest of the week off.
I'll let my boss know that you said that.
Yeah, I'm happy to provide written permission slips, whatever you need to take a long weekend, because I know you all work hard. But I will warn you in advance, my name carries no weight at all. But you know, we're excited for this opportunity. We were very excited when you reached out, Cody, because we'd like to engage with you. We'd like to partner with you. And we know it goes both ways. There are times where you'll have events that would be appropriate for us to also push out to our audience, and we welcome that communication as well. You know, and I didn't really do much of an introduction, and Scott did a great job of making me sound like an old guy, which I appreciate. But just by way of background, I've been in the association communications industry for more than 30 years. I know that's hard to believe when you look at me. I started when I was 5. And I'm also a former working journalist. So I understand the challenges you face from all directions. And my goal is to be one of the resources you can call and count on to not be a pain in the backside and to give you what you need when you need it. You know, so I'm hopeful that this is the start of a great working relationship amongst all of us as professional communicators. And I really do appreciate the opportunity to be.
Does anyone else have any thoughts or questions?
I'd love to know how we can help you. If, you know, and just throw out ideas. Other than getting things to you more than 3 weeks in advance, we're a little behind on that.
Can anybody share what their thoughts are? What, you know, I know some groups have historically programs. Sigma Nu, I don't know if there's anybody from Sigma Nu on here, is, you know, they were one of the leaders in this, and their, I think it was 50 questions or something like that, where they did a whole social media campaign on hazing prevention and hazing. Does anybody have any ideas that they're willing to share, or programs that they've had success with?
I'm thinking you all took the brown bag seriously, and you're munching on lunch, and it's hard to talk with your mouth full. That's what I'm going with. Or the alternative, which I really don't want to say in front of a board member, is that I'm boring you. Well, hopefully it's just your eating. Not boring. Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that, and I get that you're all, you know, multitasking, but we seriously, you know, I can't stress it enough when we're being repetitive. We want to work with you. I want to provide you content you can use and easily use while you're putting out all the other fires and doing the 15 things that your boss just gave you on top of the 20 other things you already had. We want to be your partner. We want to make it easy for you to work with us and to not only promote our events, but we're looking to help you promote yours in the area of hazing and you know, share your information. We do send out a newsletter. We have the website. And when you have those success stories, we'd love to hear about them and highlight those in the newsletter as a way to, you know, to advance what you're doing and to work together.
Can you all tell us, oh, sorry, a little bit more about the Institute for Hazing Prevention, as far as like what kind of professionals are attending, maybe like how long the conference is, what would be specifically communicators' benefits from attending? Sure.
I'm going to say, as a communicator, we're bringing in speakers that cover a wide range of topics within hazing, and you know, much like we're doing with Hazing Prevention Week, we'll focus, there'll be something on Greek life, there'll be something on sports, clubs, the performing arts, because, I think, and I'm sure most of you feel this quite a bit, the focus tends to be on hazing connected to fraternities and sororities, but we are really working to help improve the recognition that it happens beyond those interactions, and beyond that. And I think, by partnering with you as the communicators for different fraternity and sorority groups, we can also start to push back out to our folks the successful things that you're doing to combat hazing. So it gives you another avenue, as well as giving us an avenue to talk about our programs. So it tends to be people involved in campus life whose roles would interact where hazing starts, or not where hazing starts, I'm sorry, where hazing may happen. And, for you folks, I think really the benefit would be if you attend a session, a springboard for a story or content, depending on what your roles allow you to dive into. If you need to write an article about hazing, this will expose you to some other experts in the field and what they're doing. This year was a little bit, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to jump in there on that, is that the Institute's all, boils down to, it's all about empowering people to make change. And the big focus is on the prevention model, which involves communication, involves that type of thing. So the people we want at the table at the Institute are people that are desire to make change, whether it's a student on a college campus, whether it's an athletic coach, whether it's a director of communications or director of chapter services, whatever the case may be. And the idea of the prevention model is, it's not one person, it's not one role, it's not one idea. It's got to be comprehensive. It's got to be about your communication. It's got to be about your advocacy and empowerment. It's got to be about your rules and legislation. It's got to be so there is so many pieces to the puzzle. What the science tells us is that there's no golden, as with everything in life, there is no golden ticket or no silver bullet. And so what we try to do at the Institute is convene people that want to make a change, and then they can apply to whatever they're doing and work as a team, because nobody can work in a silo. The chapter services guy or lady that's working on risk management or chapter is not going to be the lone voice on trying to prevent hazing. It's got to be a comprehensive piece. And that's why we encourage teams to attend, not just one person, from the fraternity or from the sorority, a team of people that includes undergraduate students that are going to come together and say, strategically as an organization, what are we going to do in communications? What are we going to do in content management? What are we going to do in advocacy and supporting state and federal legislation? What are we going to do in how we develop our educational programs? How are we going to train our alumni advisors and alumni? And it's all based on that science, on that model of prevention, on how to put a comprehensive plan together. So there's a lot that you would learn specifically to your role, but also comprehensively to the organization.
And in the case of both the events that we're talking about, we produce a resource guide that I think would be valuable for all of you in your work, and we're happy to share that. We will, that has articles from experts. Not only will we have our success stories, but we have industry experts talking about different topics, whether it's alcohol or prevention in other areas. So those things that I'm actually pulling together now, and it is something that we will share with all of you after the event through Cody. And hopefully it'll be informative and, importantly, give you some content ideas or some easy to digest content to frankly, I had an old newspaper owner who, I don't know if I totally buy into this, particularly in the academic setting, but said that plagiarism is the sincerest form of flattery. So take our content, repurpose it. We would love to have the credit, but we want you to use it.
Does that answer your question? I think it was Hillary. Did you ask that?
It does. Thank you so much.
And thank you for the question.
Any other questions for us, or story ideas or approaches that you guys are crafting for?
They're all busy currently signing up, taking the pledge.
Well, Cody, if there's nothing else for Sal or I or Jill or Christine, I'm sorry.
I'm going to throw one question out to you. What's the biggest challenge you're facing as students return to campus? I'd love to know. Outside of COVID, which is the obvious one. I'm sure you're communicating a lot about masks and vaccines.
I think for us, we always just struggle with action. If it's something like COVID or masks or something that may not be as highly attractive or interesting to them, they probably feel like we're more nagging at them than we are trying to get them to do things. Making sure they're updating their membership information or new member information, just basic things like that as new classes come in, new member classes and recruitment, preparing for National Hazing Prevention Week. Also September started Suicide Awareness Month, and that's a big piece for us. See Lauren put here alcohol concerns. Yep. All of those risk management things as students get back onto campuses. And one thing that we saw through the dyad survey, or at least with that group dyad strategies, was that you have students who haven't been on campus in 2 years who are ready to be back, but then you have a class or two of students who've never been because they've been in a virtual environment. So what will those different areas of concern or risk look like, especially with alcohol consumption? Let's see. Elena with 80 Pi said, we're working on idea sharing with positive tradition in ways our chapters bond, as well as trying to create assessment and engagement in our posts through QR codes and quizzes. Interesting. Yeah, worried about the 2 freshman classes. So many are on campus for the first time. And then yes, traditions that don't fit with COVID policies or safety. That is definitely a concern. I know many of our schools, especially large Power 5 schools, have their first football games this upcoming weekend. So that will be very interesting, and we'll watch it all unfold on social media and see what happens.
So you, Cody, you prompted me for another question. How do you manage your tone in your communication so you don't come across, dare I use the word, parental when you're communicating with the students?
For us personally, I am always told that I come off very corporate, which maybe is parental in your, to use your term, but our director of communication, who's younger than I am, will always, edit the content and look through as well. But for us, it's just trying to keep it simple, try to be, connecting, keeping up with memes and what's happening day to day and what's popular. I know many of our, a few of our groups have their own TikTok handles and channels, and they are promoting videos and are up to date on those. Just, I think as a communicator, being aware of what's happening on those different platforms and how you can connect and engage with your young members that are undergraduate students.
Great, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, National Gordy Day. It's a good one. Yeah, focus on alcohol and hazing.
Yeah, we know that a couple of things that we know from the research. I mean, alcohol is involved in almost 100%, not 100%, but almost of hazing incidents. Definitely, hard liquor, which is something as a Greek world we've all struggled with. definitely an evolution of time going from the beer kegs in the days, you guys are all probably too young to know when we banned kegs, but going from the days of, oh, let's get rid of the kegs, let's get rid of the mass, and now the issue is the hard liquor, and the hard liquor, and unfortunately the hard liquor kills. You very rarely have heard somebody dying from overconsumption of beer. Usually, their stomach fills up before they get enough alcohol content, and so, but people die from hard liquor, and you combine that with these traditions or starting new traditions. What we know too is if you look at hazing that in high schools and middle schools is very prevalent, and that's why we have a partnership with the National Federation of High Schools Activities that sponsors a lot of the sports across the country, and we work hard on the high school areas because those students that are coming in with experiences that they had on high school teams, grade school teams, clubs, and sports and now suddenly they're thrust into an independent environment on a campus with very little to no supervision, with readily accessible liquor, both beer and hard liquor, and combining all of those things leads to unfortunately very sad endings. And so I think we all should be very concerned about this fall coming out of COVID and having students engaged on campus. And I honestly think some of the COVID protocols might even cause further problems of driving things underground, and limitations on public, being able to go out to bars or to have public type gatherings. And so we're gonna, we've all dealt with that. We're gonna shut the doors and close the blinds and have our own little, buy how many handles of vodka and sit in the basement type thing and have our big brother celebration or little big sister celebration. So I think we have a lot of concerns and on the communication side. And I think I would hope and support all of you guys in working in consultation with your education staff, both for alumni and undergraduates, increasing awareness of your alumni advisors, your alumni coaches, alumni mentors on the role that they can play in this prevention and awareness of what they see and hear, to try and be more proactive in eliminating bad behaviors, eliminating stupid ideas, things like that, as well as working with your chapter leaders and new members on things that go out. Because one of the challenges we see too, and I think we can all speak about it, is bystander behavior. So it's a big piece, and a lot of stuff that we talk about in hazing prevention is, it's the one or two bad eggs that think that they're, they come in with some chip on their shoulder, whatever it may be, and acceptability that it was done to them or they experienced it in high school, and they're going to lead the charge in the hazing. And unfortunately, we have too many of our chapter members that sit back and leave the room. They don't agree with it, but they're not going to intervene. They're not going to stop. And if we look at a lot of our deaths in the cases that we've said, whether it's the Beta death at Penn State or Ohio University's death a couple of years ago, it's the same case over and over. A number of the members didn't agree with it. They walked away. They let it happen because they didn't want to confront. And so that's, again, another piece of the prevention is confronting the behavior, eliminating that bystander behavior, empowering our members to be more proactive. And so, as the chief communications people, you work in partnership with all those different staff members in your organization to build content and training for them to push that out, because I'm scared about the fall, and I think we all are. So. Anything else?
I think that might be it for us today. We really appreciate you all taking the time to meet with us. I did want to take a second to talk about a couple of FCA items. Next brown bag will be in October, on October the 6th. Hopefully you are getting the FCA e-news. If not, shoot me an email, cody@farmhouse.org, and I will make sure that we get you added to the e-news listserv. There's also quite a few FCA volunteer positions available. So director of events, annual conference chair, associate partners chair, mid-year conference chair, mid-year program chair, if you're interested in joining and helping FCA. And then look for information soon about mid-year conference registration and those details, because that is coming up on Friday, November the 5th at the Alexander Hotel in downtown Indy. And we hope we can see you there in person, if not virtually. So put my email in the chat. If you are not on the listserv, like I said, please let me know and I'll get you plugged in. Thank you, really, Sal, Scott, and Christine for presenting today. Have a good
Our
day,
pleasure.
everyone.
Thanks again for the opportunity.
See
Thank you,
y'all.
guys. Good luck for this fall.